Bellatrix Lestrange is one crazy, unstable witch. Her behaviour is completely unhinged and she really is a terrifying opponent. She does not hold back. Whether it's torture, kidnap or murder, she'll do whatever she deems necessary to get the job done. However, my question is, what is her line of thought? Like, what actually goes on inside her head that makes her do these horrific things? So then I thought, okay, there's actually more than one situation where she's been a bit mad. So I'm going to take those situations and analyse her line of thinking in that very moment. So let's do it. However, before highlighting these examples, we need to take a look at Bellatrix as a person so we can get a better understanding when I actually explain the examples to you. Now, Bellatrix comes from the Black family, a family that are quite famous for their strict, no-nonsense, non-negotiable approach to keeping the magical bloodlines pure. This in turn resulted in a lot of inbreeding, which then resulted in family members having multiple mental health issues like severe paranoia and anger issues, that when combined produced the psychopath known as Bellatrix Lestrange. Now, Bellatrix would have done anything to please Lord Voldemort, and when I say anything, I mean it. She'd heard of Voldemort during her schooling days and what he was trying to do. This was the perfect opportunity to contribute to her family's image of a pure blood society. The Blacks were shallow supporters of the Dark Lord, meaning they liked what he was doing, but couldn't be associated with such radical activism. So Bellatrix has an obsessive personality and is quite a paranoid individual. This means that she will not accept failure within herself and will go beyond all reasonable matters in order to achieve a goal that she believes in. Her line of thought is total and complete devotion. That alone impresses Voldemort to the point that he personally instructs Bellatrix in the ways of the dark arts. His own spells, his own feats of magic never before seen. So this honour literally places Bellatrix into a tunnel vision state of mind where she only sees Voldemort at the end. So I want you guys to focus on Bellatrix in that state and take it with you when we look at the certain situations that I'm about to explain. So let's start with when Voldemort went missing. Now, the Dark Lord just disappeared without a trace, which sent a wave of unease around the Death Eater camp. This was not good. How can they be part of a revolution if there's nobody to lead it? Bellatrix takes the investigation into her own hands and mans the search party. She is convinced that the Longbottoms, Alice and Frank, who were quite the notable Aurors at the time, have something to do with his disappearance. In fairness to her line of thought here, she uses logic by identifying the two strongest field opponents, but her methods of extraction are horrific beyond any explanation. She outnumbers them by gaining the assistance of her husband, brother-in-law and devout supporter, Barty Crouch Jr. Together, the four torture the Longbottoms past the point of a mental breakdown. They never spoke a word about Voldemort's whereabouts, and that's because they didn't actually know. They were convicted as guilty the moment the possibility entered the mind of Bellatrix. She had no regrets. Why? Because everything was in the name of the Dark Lord. Need to kidnap someone? No problem, it's in the name of Voldemort. Needs to kill someone? No problem, it's in the name of Voldemort. Needs to torture an innocent couple into a mental breakdown because you believe they've information on the disappearance of your master? No problem, it's in the name of Voldemort. So let's take a look at another situation. Let's look at the Azkaban situation. Now, Azkaban, as many of you already know, is literally the worst place in existence. It's cold, dark, damp, and is infested with soul-sucking dementors who like to feed on one's happiness. So Bellatrix willingly goes there for the crime she committed, openly admitting it while standing trial. It's no issue to her. It doesn't matter where she goes and for how long. Why? What's her line of thought? Well, it's simple enough to explain because it's quite a simple explanation. In her mind, the purpose of Bellatrix's sole existence is to serve Voldemort. If she's not in service to him, then she sees no point in displaying any will to exist until he returns. Bellatrix willingly waited in Azkaban because she switches off everything. Nothing matters if the Dark Lord isn't around. The only thing she ever thought about was the day she gets to enter into his service once again, and she fully believed that day would come, and surprise surprise, it did come. It took a hell of a long time to come, but it did, proving her faith in her master was well founded. This means there was no happiness for the Dementors to feed on, because she only ever felt happy when she was around Lord Voldemort. So when she is actually released from Azkaban, she's nothing to prove in terms of loyalty, but she is skeptical of others, which brings us on to the next situation, the Snape situation. She doesn't trust him whatsoever and is really surprised that Voldemort even gave him another chance after basically doing nothing to try help him or to try find him for so many years. The only reason she's even tolerating him is because her master wills it. Ever the opportunist, Bellatrix manipulates the situation in her favour by having Snape make the unbreakable vow. This is her way of weeding him out. You can imagine she was even more surprised when Snape not only agreed to the vow, but actually followed through by killing Albus Dumbledore right before Bellatrix herself and the other Death Eaters, which did silence them all for good. So let's move on. Let's briefly look at another situation, the Hermione situation. Now, this is one that was quite similar to the Longbottom situation because Hermione had information that could have been detrimental to the Dark Lord's plans. This put Bellatrix into the same state of mind that she was in when she tortured the Longbottoms, and make no mistake, Hermione felt her wrath. She topped it off by inscribing the word Mudblood on her arm, her way of leaving a very special and memorable mark. I think it's actually an overlooked moment in the book in terms of the seriousness of it. Anyway, let's look at more situations. She killed her own niece, Nymphadora Tonks, her sister's child, because she knew it was what Voldemort wanted. She's not considering any family ties here. She doesn't really need to think about it. No hesitance, no guilt. She did, however, consider family when she tried to kill Ginny Weasley. She knew how much of a devastating blow it would be to Molly to lose her only daughter, and it was through such cynical thoughts that seen her lose her own life in the process. So guys, you can see there was not a lot of things going on in Bellatrix's head, and I don't mean that in a she's an idiot kind of way, because she only had one line of thought: do whatever it takes to show complete and total loyalty to Lord Voldemort, which of course varied with different situations. Anyway guys, that's my take on what was going on inside the head of Bellatrix Lestrange. Let me know your opinions in the comment section below. Let me know what video you want to see next. You know something, it's been a long time since I actually asked that question, so let me know. Thanks again for watching. I'll see you in the very next video. Thank you so much for watching. I truly appreciate your support. Everyone, notifications of uploads are more important than ever. So please, if you haven't already, turn those notifications on to make sure you're notified the moment my video goes live. Making videos is what I love to do. It's my dream and my passion. However, it does cost time and money to produce this content. So if you have $1 to spare to support me on Patreon in exchange for some exclusive unseen content, then you can click the Patreon link below or at the end of this video. Please only support me if you can afford it. And make sure to follow me on Instagram at InstaDeanJ and on Twitter at PotterFolklore. Check out my other videos appearing on screen, and please make sure, most importantly, to hit that subscribe button. Thanks again everyone, and please have a great day.